you work a 9 to 5 and you've been thinking about starting a business, I'm going to share with you in this video 5 things you want to think about before starting your business. What's up, 9to5preneurs? I'm Lamika, and this is The Real About Entrepreneurship. And in today's video, I am talking about 5 things I wish I had known before I started my business while working a full-time job. So let's get into it. All right, so I have got my notes here. I am a 9to5preneur, and my 9 to 5, I travel a lot for work. So these videos will, for the most part, be recorded from my hotel room because you got to get it in where you get it in. So as an entrepreneur who works a 9 to 5 and I travel a good bit from my 9 to 5, yet I still want to produce content and I'm working on my business, it is important for me to be ready to do things at all times. So these aren't necessarily in any particular order. They are just things that I wrote down that I wish I had known. This first one is definitely, you want to know your numbers before you start your business. And I've got some notes down here, so you may see me looking at my notes here. So you want to know your numbers and understanding the financial side of a business. While we may be excited about it, it may be our passion, we need to make sure that we know our numbers. I know I spent so many years with my business of Hype Goddess not really knowing my numbers, or I knew my numbers, but they were in my head. And it wasn't until I got the numbers out and I was visually able to see them that it made a big difference for that business. I even recently had a meeting with my manufacturer. We went over those numbers again because I produce clothing for Hype Goddess, and with a lot of the different things that are changing in the world and the costs that are associated with it, I had to think about what those numbers look like now that I want to produce versus when I was producing before. So make sure that you know your numbers. It's not just in your head. You have it written down somewhere that you can actually see it and be able to speak to what those numbers represent and what you may need to do in order to change things. So get comfortable with your business finances, okay? The other thing that I wish I knew was the pivot. How many times I was going to have to pivot. I have pivoted so many times in business, especially with Hype Goddess. I started out making jeans for tall women. That's what I wanted to do. I manufactured in the US, primarily Texas and California. And I have had to make so many pivots in that business that I am still trying to figure it out. Like, I'm in the middle of a pivot right now as I record this video for my business, Hype Goddess. Even in my mobile home business, it has been a pivot as well. When I first started out, I was primarily wholesaling. It was the primary way I was doing my mobile home business. And now that I have my broker's license and the market has changed, I do a lot more brokering than I do wholesaling, as well as I still have my buy and holds and I have my fix and flips. And so with mobile homes, the good part about it is there's so many different avenues that you can go. So when the market changes, I'm able to make the adjustment. So I just don't do one thing. I will wholesale, I will broker, I will fix and flip, I will buy and hold. So I have to be ready to pivot at any moment with that. So that you got to be comfortable with pivoting when you start the business, because I have not always been comfortable with the pivot, especially with Hype Goddess. I have not been comfortable with the pivot because in my mind I had it being one way and I've had to make several adjustments in it. Sometimes the original plan does not work, and that is okay as long as you are willing to pivot. All right, so this would be number 3. The number 3 lesson is it's all about building relationships. People talk about networking, but you have to build the relationships, and it's not something that happens overnight. I know a lot of times people have told me they've gone to a networking group and they didn't get anything out of it. You didn't get anything out of it because you just met those people. They don't know you. They don't know whether they can trust your business or to refer you something. So you have to build a relationship there. And that is one thing that I've always been good at, is making sure that I build relationships, I maintain those relationships. I am the person that's gonna reach out, send you an email, send you a text message, and just check it in on you. Not to do anything, but just to more see how business is going, see where you are, and make sure that we come in contact. Actually, someone that I met in an airport probably 10 years ago, we have kept in touch over the years, and I recently was on a business trip and reached out to her. We went to dinner, and the things that we talked about and that she gave me for my business, it has literally been a game changer for me. But it's only because both of us, it was a two-way street, both of us have nurtured that relationship since we met each other so many years ago in the airport. So when you're networking, remember that you're not just networking, but you also have to nurture and build the relationships for the people that you have met in some sort of networking atmosphere, okay? So just all about building genuine connections. So definitely the power is in your network, but it's also the power is in the relationships that you have built in that network. All right, so this fourth one, people mention it all the time, and I'm still figuring it out, and that is clarity. Being clear about what you want to do it, and more importantly, why you are doing it. What is your why? Because they say you go back to your why when things get hard, or you go back to your why when you're trying to figure out your pivot. And so for me, in regards to Height Goddess, my why for that business is I'm a tall woman, and I have always been confident in my height, but that hasn't been the case for everyone. And I know when I first started the business, clothing was the best way for me. Actually, when I started Height Goddess because I wanted a pair of jeans, and I could not find jeans to fit me outside of having to go and get a pair of men's jeans. It's come a long way since me creating Height Goddess in 2007, but that was the reason, that was my why, is I wanted a pair of jeans to fit my taller than average frame. So that was my why in creating Height Goddess. And so everything was driven by that. And then my why changed for Height Goddess. It then became, I love seeing women in general confident in who they are. And sometimes as tall girls and tall women, they may not be comfortable in their height. And I knew that Height Goddess was a way for me to help other tall girls and tall women be comfortable in their height. So that is my current why of Height Goddess, and creating what I create for Height Goddess. So that takes me, when I don't want to do something, that's what I go back to. That is my why. And I see a tall girl and she is embracing her height, or I see a tall woman and she's embracing her height. That is what motivates and drives me for Height Goddess and for my podcast, From One Height Goddess to Another, is talking to other tall women who may not have had the same experience as I have in enjoying being a Height Goddess. So definitely knowing your why. And in regards to my why in my mobile home business, my original why was because I needed to pay off debt. That was my why. It was driving me. And that debt came from me creating Height Goddess, because Height Goddess was a capital intensive business because it was a clothing line, and I was manufacturing, I'm buying raw goods, I have pattern makers, I have samples that have to be made. So it was very capital intensive. And so I had incurred a lot of debt, and mobile homes was the way for me to pay off that debt. So my why was I needed to get out of the debt that I was in. So that was my why for mobile homes, and it has done paying off debt and more for me. So I go back to my why for that business all the time, and it is definitely changing in the fact that while it has definitely gotten me debt free, now I'm looking at growing my portfolio and gaining even more financial independence. That is my why. But also being able to provide clean, affordable homes for people that are looking for it. Ideally, I like buying homes on land and selling the land home packages, because that is the ability for someone to own something. But I also own manufactured homes in mobile home parks as well. But at the end of the day, for the mobile homes, my current why is to be able to afford to provide clean, safe, and affordable homes for people that are looking for that. So that's my why for my mobile home business. I have a couple of whys, but I go back to them. I have my vision board, and my vision board a lot of the times has a big part of my vision board is my why. So I go back to it. So making sure you have that clarity as to why you're doing things in those challenging times, or when you're traveling and you're doing, like me, I am traveling, I have a lot of stuff going on. I was like, let me make this video real quick, because my why is I want to share my journey so that other people can see that it's possible, and just to be able to share it. I have people ask me all the time, like, how do you do everything that you do? And I'm like, because I decided that's what I wanted to do, and I know what my why is, and I go back to that why. So I'm clear on that. This one The fifth one is to seek help early on, okay? You want to seek help early on, but you can only seek help early on if you are clear. I'm going back to what I just said. You can only seek help early on when you are clear about your why and what it is that you want to do, because you have to be able to share your vision with someone. For so long, a lot of what I wanted to do was in my head, and I had to figure out how to get it out. I am better at talking than I am writing. So it took me a minute to realize that I use the voice notes in my phone and I talk it out so that whenever I meet someone or I know that I'm looking for something, I can go back to that voice note and say, oh, okay, this is what I need help with. And I've talked it through, I'm clear on it, and now I can ask for the right help. When you are asking for the right help, make sure that they are also able to help you implement, specifically when you are hiring coaches. In a lot of businesses, social media is a big part of it. So you get a lot of people that will give you these social media strategies, but they can't tell you, or they don't have the resources to help you implement, or they don't have the connection to help you implement. So just be mindful of when you are hiring help, like knowing exactly what you need. And once you know what you need, are they able to help you implement? Because it can save you so much time by asking for help early on, but you just want to make sure that you are clear on what it is that you need so that you can get the right help. And in that seeking help early on, please hear me when I say, if they are giving you a strategy, they also need to be able to introduce you to the people that can help you implement that strategy. Even if it is not themselves or their business, they should have a connection to someone in their network. Goes back to that networking and the relationships. They should be able to introduce you to another business owner that can help you implement on the strategy that they gave you. If they can't, don't hire them, okay? I'm trying to save you because this has happened to me. All right, so those are 5 things that I wish I knew before starting my business as a 9-to-5preneur. Definitely, there are many others, but those are definitely probably my top 5. Make sure you know your numbers. Listen, that is number 1, okay? Make sure you know your numbers, because baby, that why of how I needed mobile homes to pay off the debt that I had gotten from creating Hi Goddess, listen, okay? So yeah, so put your comments below, any questions that you have about being a 9-to-5preneur or just an entrepreneur, but I'm speaking from a 9-to-5preneur because I do work a full-time job and I travel with that. So it's a lot of moving parts. So yeah, so put your comments below and make sure you smash that subscribe button, because that lets YouTube know that you are enjoying the content that I am producing. And I'm about to run out here to this meeting I got. I'm gonna holler at y'all later.